Hello everyone and welcome to my very first Oblivion Remastered build, the Ranger. This is a nice simple and straightforward character build, designed to get new and old players alike back into the swing of things, exploring the lands of Cyrodiil and seeing what wonders are out there. This build is a Wood Elf from the Great Wood region. As a Wood Elf you will start with improved agility and speed, and the Great Wood origin helps you with endurance. Additionally, you will be able to command animals once per day with your racial ability, a very helpful trick to have up your sleeve when exploring through the wilds. For a Birthsign, I went with the Lord. Honestly, there was probably a better thematic choice to pick with this build, but who can turn down an extra 15 points of armour and magic resistance? Certainly not me. The main attributes for this build are agility and speed. Agility can be thought of as our offensive attribute, as it dictates the damage we deal with short swords and bows. It also will help by boosting both maximum fatigue and fatigue regeneration, ensuring we can attack over and over again. Speed is the most straightforward of the stats, just making us faster. Despite being simple to understand, that by no means diminishes its importance. Being fast on your feet is perfect for backing away from melee enemies or dodging projectile attacks. Both of these are also the attributes which Bosma have naturally raised, so ranking these up to max shouldn't be an issue if you take this character to higher levels. The minor attributes I went for with this build were strength and endurance. These shouldn't receive as much focus as our main stats, but you'll always be leveling 3 attributes per level up, so these can be switched between for a small extra boost. Strength has a few different effects, but the two we care about are health and carry weight. The higher we have the skill, the more hit points and carry capacity we have to work with. Your base carry weight is 5 times whatever your strength stat is, meaning that if you only have 30 strength, then you only have 150 carry capacity. But if you level up strength to something like 80, then suddenly you have 400 carry capacity. How much you want to level this up depends on how much of a lootaholic you are. Endurance doesn't give us any extra carry weight, but it has a far greater effect on our health. The higher this is, the more hit points we have to work with, and the faster they regen outside of combat. The major skills for this build are Armourer, Athletics, Blade, Restoration, Light Armour, Marksman, and Sneak. In order to get all these skills you will need to create a custom class, but that's easy enough to do in the character creator. Armourer is used to repair equipment. Degradation of your gear over time is a serious problem in Oblivion. Every time you get hit, your armour will lose condition. Every time you hit an enemy, the weapon you hit them with will lose condition. Keeping your gear in good working order is vital, and the higher this skill is, the easier that becomes. It's also imperative that you have the skill raised to at least 25, in order to be able to fix up magic items with your repair hammers. Athletics is all about movement. The higher you have it, the longer you can sprint for. Oblivion contains a vast open world to explore, so you're going to be on the move all the time. Tie this in with the speed attribute, and you should have no problem outpacing everything else in the game. Blade is the first of our damage skills, granting an increase to bladed weapon damage. The base damage alone is enough to focus on this skill, but every rank after Novice comes with a really solid bonus, with things like improved sword durability, power attacks that weaken the target, and bleeding blows. Brilliant skill, well worth trying to level whenever you can. Restoration, on the other hand, has a much more basic leveling path, as each new rank simply unlocks higher tier spells. The reason we've got this skill is simple. Healing. Healing spells are governed by restoration. The higher it is, the more you'll get out of them, and the better healing spells you can unlock. Light armour is what we'll be wearing, and the higher this skill is, the longer our armour will last. This works in conjunction with the Armourer skill, helping to mitigate the difficulties of Oblivion's repair system. Marksman is our penultimate major skill, and our second damage one, this time covering bows. The higher it is, the more damage our arrows will end up dealing. In addition to this, it also has some pretty cool unlocks at each 25 point tier. From no fatigue loss from drawing a bow, to being able to paralyze targets, there's plenty to look forward to here. Final skill is Sneak. That's right, this is technically a stealth archer build. I'll talk about why it isn't exclusively that in the playstyle section, but for now let's just focus on the skill itself. Sneak not only makes you a lot harder to be detected while crouched down, but the Apprentice tier perk gives a big boost of damage to your sneak attacks, making those satisfying one-shot kills all the more likely to occur. On to the equipment section now, where I'll start with our weapons. This build focuses on the bow and the short sword. Relatively early on you should be able to find still versions of each of these, and they'll be good enough to see you through a large portion of the game. Obviously it's worthwhile picking up stronger variants when you find them, but still versions are worth keeping a hold of in the early and even mid-game. Part of the reason I say this is because I like to have 2 bows and 2 short swords with me at all times. That way, if my bow or my sword breaks, I know I have another one to switch to. Once you start finding enchanted weapons, this comes in handy too. I ended up finding a bow of embers while out on my travels. The fire damage comes in handy when facing down strong foes, but it's not smart for me to waste charges of a weapon when I'm just out hunting deer. By also having a steel bow in my inventory, I can switch to that when facing weaker foes, and not worry about losing any of the charges on my more powerful weapon. When it comes to armour, I had a somewhat similar thought process. I kept a set of leather armour on my person, which was good enough for casual travelling and only ate up 13 points of carry weight. The protection it provides may be modest, but it's nice and light and it looks incredible, which is why I'm mostly wearing that in the thumbnail. However, if you follow the main quest a short way and end up playing through the Siege of Kvatch, then you should be able to get yourself a full set of chainmail gear, and an enchanted bit of their guard armour too. The chainmail itself is only a minor improvement on leather, but the enchanted armour you get by returning the Count's ring gives a nice little boost to both of our major attributes, making it a particularly handy bit of guaranteed armour. Beyond this, you should be keeping your eyes open for any enchanted items which will boost the stats you're focusing on. I was able to stumble across the gauntlets of a woodsman in a random chest, and these provided a fortified marksman bonus, adding to the damage of my bow. Stuff like this is a golden find, and the main reason you should be looting every chest you come across, as you never know how generous the game will be. I treated this character as somewhat of a morally neutral loner. They're mostly just interested in doing what they need to get by, so followers and factions are all entirely optional. Going too far in the morally good or evil direction may feel a little strange, so factions like Knights of the Nine and the Dark Brotherhood would create a large tonal shift. But factions like the Thieves or Fighter Guild could be much more easily justified, as they both provide benefit to the Ranger without pushing them too far to the fringes. This character may sound a little self-interested at first, but they also understand that threats to the world are more important than their own interests, and as such will staunchly pursue the main questline. It's all well and good to stop and smell the flowers, but if the Daedra get their way, then the serene sights of Tamriel will be no more. The Ranger is a build which relies on speed and stealth to get the upper hand. We all know just how powerful stealth archery can be, and this build expertly facilitates that, making it simple and easy to land sneak attacks with the bow. But not every situation the game throws at you will allow for this tactic. Sometimes you will get unlucky and be spotted, or the battlefield may be too chaotic for a stealthy approach. In this situation, you can switch over to combat archery if you have the range to work with. You may not be getting a stealth multiplier, but the bow is still a powerful weapon. If you are looking down a charging melee enemy and have plenty of room to back away, then you can even do a fighting retreat this way, loosing arrows as you back away from the approaching threat. If this proves not to be enough, or there simply isn't the room to wield a bow, then you should rely on your short sword to get the job done. While not immediately quite as damaging a weapon as the bow, a short sword can dish out strong DPS if you keep on swinging. Don't let up on the enemy and you'll find their health bar is steadily chipped away. During these close encounters you will no doubt be taking a fair bit of damage yourself, so don't forget to heal as you fight. Restorative spells take only a moment to cast and they will keep you alive. If need be, use your high speed to back out of immediate danger, and take a moment to heal up and let your stamina return to you. The Ranger grew up in Greatwood, just beyond the old settlement of Gil Vardel. His parents had also been born in the region, and told their son of how the nearby settlement had once been a thriving town of the Bosmer people, home to one of Valenwood's famous great oaks, and a true symbol of the Wood Elf's harmony with nature. That was until one infamous night, when a red mist encompassed the giant tree. A terrible portent in and of itself, but simply a harbinger of what was to come. The Daedric Prince of Domination, Molag Bal, appeared from the red mist and devoured the settlement in an unimaginable act of destruction, leaving behind naught but devastation and corruption. How much of this story was truth and how much legend was always a mystery to the Ranger. Despite having been an event that occurred far back in the First Era, the fallout of it was still present in the Ranger's lifetime. From the poisoned springs of light water to the miasma that lingered in the distant ruins, the young Bosmer was raised in a harsh environment which served as a constant reminder as to just how dangerous the Daedra could be. Despite how difficult survival was here, he overcame the added challenges of living off the land in such a harsh environment, and grew to be a strong and nimble young elf. While many of his peers spoke of restoring these lands that the Bosmer had lost, the Ranger believed it to be a lost cause. The voicing of these opinions in such a harsh way led to the Ranger becoming somewhat of an outcast. While he was never technically shunned from his local communities, he also never found himself at home in them. After much time struggling to survive in his homeland, he decided to travel north to greener pastures. The journey was long and challenging, but no more so than his existence had been so far, and after several weeks of travel, he found himself in the heartland of the Empire, Cyrodiil. Here the grass was green, the water clear, and the game bountiful. He lived many days in a pleasant paradise, sleeping by the lakes when he was tired and hunting when he was hungry. But it was this hunting that would be his undoing. After killing and eating a deer which had been deemed to belong to a local lord, the Ranger was classed as a poacher and hurriedly thrown in prison, with no chance to defend himself or escape. It is after a night in the Imperial cells that he will be visited by the Emperor and thrown onto the path of fate. While not the direction he wanted his life to take, having been born in lands that were once destroyed by the Daedra, he knows the importance of the quest he finds himself on, and will do what it takes to ensure that his new home doesn't fall to the same destruction that his first did all those years ago. And that was my first Oblivion Remastered character build. It's been a little while since I've done a character like this, so I wanted to keep things fairly simple and reasonably low level, but I hope you all still enjoyed it nonetheless. I do want to start working on some higher level builds, though they will take a lot longer for me to make. If you want to see more regular Oblivion content from me, then you should check out my second channel, Bad Company Gaming, where I'm currently doing a Uniques only challenge run of the game, with new episodes uploaded twice a week. Head over there and subscribe if you don't want to miss them, and if you're happy to be patient while waiting for the next character build, then subscribe to this channel too. Feel free to leave a like or comment to let me know what you thought of this video, and as always, thanks for watching. Sarge out.